Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the May edition of the Augusta Co-op Row Report. I'm Troy Grimm, Agronomy Division Manager for Augusta Co-op. Just wanted to kind of touch on a few things here to start. Kind of one of the things that's been on everybody's mind all year is fertilizer supply and price. Just kind of where we are now that we're kind of through the spring season, the hay season, what do we call the early season, and kind of where we look like we might be for over top of corn and some late fertilizer applications this fall. Start with potash. Potash supplies are going to be tight, have been tight all year. Here at Augusta Co-op, we've been very fortunate to be able to get everything we need. And I think prices are going to stay right where they're at. Don't see any chance of them going down at this point just because of supply issues. With Russia being out of the market right now, and they supply the majority of South America's potash. Don't see any possibility of prices going down or supply getting any better. And going into 23, I don't, it's not a lot of indications out there that things will get better in 23 on the potash side. Don't know if we'll see a huge price increase since we're going into fall and not into the main season there in the spring, but you never know about that. Things are crazy this year. Unlike anything anybody's ever seen, so it's hard to say, but I don't think we'll see a price decrease. Nitrogen, everybody knows we've got corn going in the ground right now. I would say we're 40%, maybe 50% planted here in the valley from what I'm seeing, and we're going to need nitrogen to go over top of corn here in the next 30 to 45 days. Have some corn that's been in since mid to late April that will be going over a little earlier, but nitrogen supplies right now are okay. The problem we're going to run into though is that the Midwest is at a standstill on planting. It's been cold and wet in a lot of areas and cold and dry in others. Even in the east, there have been some dry areas down in South Carolina, down that part of the world, so kind of slowed things down quite a bit. And as everybody knows, when the Midwest starts planting, we're going to see that fertilizer start to move pretty heavily out to that part of the world. So I think we've positioned ourselves here at Augusta Co-op pretty well. I think we're going to be fine on supply of fertilizer. I don't see when we get to that point the prices are going to be a lot cheaper. Maybe a little bit, but then again, if they start really moving it into the Midwest and start moving getting those warehouses empty, I think we'll see that price kind of stay similar to where we've been here kind of late spring. Very unfortunate the price is this high, but the one good thing is we have good commodity prices. Beans in the $16 range, corn, approaching $8. Probably some new crop you could have sold for $8, maybe a little more a bushel. So at least our commodity prices have kind of kept pace with the fertilizer prices. Again, here at Augusta Co-op, I don't think we're going to have any issues with having fertilizer, nitrogen, Amidas, one of our flagship products we really like, over top of corn, which we'll use the majority of. We've got that, and also some urea to do that with. So I think we're going to be okay here. Liquid's kind of building the same situation. We don't put any liquid over top of corn anymore. We don't drop any liquid anymore, but we should have a little bit of nitrogen around here for folks that may want to do that do their own that way. Liquid's going to continue to be tight. With the Russian, situation, they're not coming, so that's just keeps, especially on the East Coast, keeps the liquid nitrogen especially tight. Chemicals, we talked a lot about Roundup early in the season. If you saw one of our row reports like in January, we really were concerned about Roundup. We got way ahead of this thing here at Augusta Co-op back last June. We've been able to keep Roundup here and have been able to supply all of our customers. We normally would, and then some others they were unable to find the Roundup they needed. Some of the Roundup branded products like Power Max seems to be turning loose a little bit. The stuff is exorbitantly expensive and kind of late in the season here for it to come loose. I don't know how this is going to affect 23 season just yet, but we're hopeful that we'll be able to get more Roundup for next year. We have enough Roundup for everybody through the fall, through this late season over top of corn. As we top dress our corn, spray our second passes on corn and beans. I think we're going to be fine on all that for fall, all the way into fall. And we do have some product here for folks that need some. here at Augusta Co-op, we have 2.5 gallon jugs. We do not have any 30-gallon drums anymore, but we do have some 2.5s, which is not ideal for guys that are spraying their own a lot of times, but it's better than having no Roundup at all. Again, about twice as expensive as it was last year, but you know, we do have the product here. The rest of the chemicals seem to be coming in slowly. You know, a product like Status, you know, has been an allocated product for the last 3 or 4 years. We are slowly getting our Status in. I think we're going to be fine on most of those chemicals. So whatever we need to do over top of our customers' corn, we're going to be able to get it done. Even if we have to be a little creative in some situations, we'll be able to do that to get our customers taken care of and make sure their crops are clean and they're going to yield, you know, as good as they can. Mother Nature will rain for us here this summer more than we did last year with commodity prices where they are. I think everybody will be able to make a profitable crop, even with the input prices being where they are. As we move, you know, as we talked about, we've moved into planting corn. Got some corn up. I personally looked at some corn this morning that was about 4 inches tall. So you know, we've got some corn out there. Not hearing a lot of issues. I've heard some rumors of slug issues around. I personally have not seen any slug damage that's worth even talking about. The only thing that I've seen personally, and it's been in very small areas and not very many acres, of some cutworm issues going on. And that's mostly on untreated corn. I know that they don't, you know, really promote any cutworm resistance in Smart Stacks or Duracade varieties, but we see it. It does help, and what I've seen the cutworm in has been either original vent rootworm corns or no rootworm at all. So we've, you know, a little bit of that going on, but really not many issues that we have personally seen here at Augusta Co-op. Again, the slugs rumors out there, really haven't seen a lot of it. Have very few beans planted at this point by our customers. People are trying to get this corn in again. We were slow kind of getting started. It was cold. It's been pretty dry here for the springtime. And small grain had been frosted several times, so it was kind of delayed coming off. So, you know, we've been kind of slow getting going, but going pretty good pace right now. And feel like we got some rain this past weekend, so I think we're going to, you know, kind of have a good week of planting here. So, you know, we just recommend to kind of continue to watch those crops to make sure we don't have any of these kind of issues. As far as like a post spray on corn, there are so many options and so many scenarios. It's kind of hard to talk about one product over another. Really what we recommend at Augusta Co-op is to get that corn scouted, whether we do it, whether the farmer does it, and see what the corn actually needs as far as weed control or any pest control, and kind of tailor that program to that particular farm, field, set of fields. I think in a year like this, we need to be mindful of the budget. We need to be mindful of how much money we're spending per acre, and we need to do what we need to do, but not a whole lot extra that we know will not have a return on our investment. So, you know, fungicide is always a good idea. It pays every time, in my opinion, especially corn. You know, it's worth what it is now. You know, that third, you know, depending on whether you spray it on with a plane or how you put it on, you know, $30 to $40 an acre kind of situation is definitely going to pay for itself. You know, that's one of those things that I think, you know, we don't want to cut, even in a high input environment. We really don't want to cut that one. But we can. There's other things we can do to try to make sure we have the corn clean enough where we're not going to have any weed competition. But maybe not break the bank on it as well. So just something to kind of think about. We've you know, we offer scouting services and we do recommendations and, you know, a full service here at Augusta Co-op, as most of you know. But you know, just something we need to kind of be looking at this year. Trying to do what we need to, but not anything much extra on that front. When you come to top dressing corn, can't grow corn without nitrogen. Everybody knows nitrogen is very expensive, but at the end of the day, it takes about 1.2 pounds of nitrogen or so to grow a bushel of corn. So, you know, we got to put the nitrogen there. If it's not there, the corn's not going to yield the way you want it to. So unfortunately, that's just one of those things that we have to continue to do to make sure our corn does well. So again, we, you know, offer, you know, PSNTs. We can do those. We can also do some tissue sampling, you know, and we also take into consideration what the corn has had up front. If there's been any manure applications, you know, all those things that we would consider as we go forward, making recommendations and decisions about what to do over top of corn. We still have some corn seed here at Augusta Co-op, just a little bit here and there. If there's somebody that wants to plant some corn, runs out of corn, that sort of thing. So we can help you with that. You know, before long, we're going to be considering what we're going to do for small grain after corn. Seems like the seasons get more condensed every year, but with supplies the way they are, I did want to kind of put this point out there. With supplies the way they're going to be on a lot of things this year, we need to be considering our small grain thoughts early this year. Maybe, you know, mid into June, 1st of July, we need to start thinking about that to make sure that we have the seed that we need to cover the acres we want to cover. So farmers, I know it's early and you're still got corn out there. You hadn't even thought about chopping it yet, but we need to think about this small grain to make sure that we get it. You know, there's some drought issues in Canada. A lot of our small grains come from Canada. You know, we need to try to make sure that we're going to be able to have what people need to go forward for the fall. So it's kind of something to think about. Again, you know, it's been a crazy year, one like nobody's ever seen. Can't promise or even would give a thought whether 23 is going to be any better. Not real sure with diesel fuel prices the way they are. I don't think they're done. I think they're going to go up some probably before it's over with. But again, with commodity prices holding on and with all the other things going on in the world, with some of the supply being affected, even in our grains for food, I think we don't see a lot of pressure for corn to go down a whole lot, beans to go down a whole lot, wheat as well. So just kind of wanted to kind of give a small update here as we're kind of moving into the middle of the season, I would call it, and just let everybody know that, you know, kind of how the supply price is, and chemical supplies are. Augusta Co-op is in a good position to cover your needs. So if we can help you in any way, please give myself a call, any field reps a call, send us an email, whatever you need to do. We'll be glad to take care of you. Again, thank you for watching. This is the Augusta Co-op Pro Report.